Ah, group work. For some of us, that phrase brings back amazing memories of collaboration. But for others, it's just a nightmare of doing all the work while your partner stares at the ceiling. So, what does the science actually say? A huge new study might finally have a real answer, and it all boils down to something called the jigsaw effect.
I mean, it seems like a pretty simple question, doesn't it? But the answer is, well, it's really complicated. We've all been there. You remember that one great group project, but you probably also remember the five where one person did everything. So, naturally, educators have been trying to figure out for years how to make it work every single time. You see, on the one hand, the promise is just massive. You've got students teaching students, working together, supporting each other. It sounds like the perfect way to learn. But then you dig into the actual research, and the results are kind of all over the map. A lot of studies find really weak effects, or sometimes no effect at all. It seems like just telling students to work together isn't some kind of magic bullet. So this leads us to the central puzzle, right? Why do some group projects totally fail while others might actually work? Researchers started to think that maybe group work is too simple a term. The secret might not be that students work together, but how you actually structure that teamwork. So, to solve this puzzle, a team of researchers decided to go big. They designed this huge, really ambitious experiment because they wanted to get a definitive answer on what kind of teamwork truly actually improves learning. And when I say they went big, I mean they went big. They set up this massive real-world experiment in Karnataka, India. We're talking about nearly 10,000 middle schoolers across 37 different public schools. This was not some small, sterile lab study. This was happening in actual classrooms with actual students to get the most reliable results you can possibly imagine. Okay, so here's how they set it up. They had four groups. One was the control group. They just went to class like normal. But the other three groups each tried a very specific, slightly different type of teamwork. The goal was to figure out which ingredients were the most important for success. Now, what's really clever here is how the methods build on each other. So the first group, the pair group, simply had students of different abilities sit together. The second group did the same thing, but they added a prize for the pair that scored the highest. And then the third group took all of that and added one more crucial layer, a special technique called the jigsaw method. So what in the world is this jigsaw method? Okay, think of a lesson like a puzzle. In a normal classroom, the teacher kind of gives everyone the whole puzzle at once. But in a jigsaw classroom, each student gets one unique piece. You are responsible for becoming an expert on your piece. And then you have to teach it to your partner so you can put the whole puzzle together. You can't succeed alone. Here's how it actually looked in the classroom. First, you're in your home base, your jigsaw group, which was a pair. Then the lesson gets split in half. Each partner then goes to an expert group with other students to master their specific piece. Finally, and this is the key part, they come back to their original partner and have to teach them what they learned. This forces them to co-coach each other. Your success is literally tied to how well you can teach your partner. Okay, so we've got the three different methods being tested in this massive experiment. The big question is, did any of it actually work? Let's dive into the results. All right, first up, the simplest change. Just having students of different abilities sit next to each other. What happened? Absolutely nothing. No significant effect on test scores. Turns out just sitting near someone isn't enough to make you smarter. Who knew? Okay, so what if you add a little incentive? A prize for the team with the best score. Surely that would work, right? Well, the researchers tested that, and again, nope, still no significant effect. A simple prize just wasn't enough to really change how the students learned together. But when we get to the jigsaw method, the story completely changes, especially in math. Now, don't worry about all the details on this graph. Just focus on the chart in the top right. The red line is the student scores before the experiment, and that blue dotted line is their scores after. See how that entire blue curve is shifted to the right? That's exactly what you want to see. It means the entire class got better. So just how big was this improvement? Well, the jigsaw method boosted student math scores by 0.25 standard deviations. Now, that might sound like academic jargon, but trust me, in the world of education research, that is a really, really big deal. So what does a boost of 0.25 standard deviations actually mean for a student? It's huge. It's enough to move an average students up several ranks in their class. And what's so important is that this wasn't just helping the students who were struggling. It helped everyone, the kids at the bottom, in the middle, and at the top, all without holding back the high achievers. It was a win-win. The results are obviously impressive, but the really fascinating question is why? Why did this one specific method work so incredibly well, and why was the effect so much stronger in math? Well, the researchers have a pretty compelling theory. And here it is, the big idea, straight from the paper. Jigsaw works because it creates this unique situation where the effort you put into teaching your partner actually helps you learn the material even better. The act of teaching forces you to really understand it. It's not just about helping your partner, it's about solidifying your own knowledge in the process. This also explains why the effect was so big in math, but basically non-existent in English. Think about it. To get good at math, you need active, hands-on practice. You have to solve the problems yourself. The jigsaw method forces that kind of active engagement. English, on the other hand, is often influenced more by things outside of class, like the language you speak at home. So classroom time is just a smaller piece of a much bigger puzzle. So what's the big takeaway here? Let's zoom out, because this isn't just some interesting academic finding. It has huge real-world implications for how we could be setting up our classrooms for success. Here's the bottom line. First, just telling kids to work in groups and hoping for the best, that's not a strategy. Second, the secret ingredient seems to be structured interaction, a system that forces students to co-coach each other. Third, the jigsaw method is a proven, super low-cost tool that does exactly that. And finally, it's that rare thing in education, a true win-win that helps struggling students without slowing down their peers. And that really leaves us with a final big question. This wasn't some expensive, high-tech solution. It was a simple, clever way to change how students interact with each other. And if a change that small can produce results this big, it really makes you wonder, what other simple, powerful, and scalable ideas are just sitting out there waiting to be discovered?